Nearly 50% of all investment properties are owned by individual investors. And about 40 of these so-called individual investors, about 40% of them break even on a rental property. So, that's obviously not the goal. But, even if you break even, you do have debt pay down, and you still build appreciation. You're just not getting that cash flow. So on this video today, we're going to talk about, does it really cash flow? We're going to take an example of one of my properties, and we're going to show you that not necessarily every single landlord that owns a couple properties is rich. So on the surface, everything always looks good because a good landlord will fix their property, maintenance their property, keep everything clean and up to date. So what we're going to kind of break down today is what all goes into that. What's the costs, the reserves, and we'll break down, like I said, one of my individual properties, see if we cash flow, and I'll give you what it shows on paper and what it really feels like. So let's go ahead and get into it. Like I said, the most common misperception is that every property cash flows. You have two train of thoughts. Either everybody thinks real estate is a terrible investment and it's a pain, which it can be from time to time, but it is an investment. It is not like an automatic get rich quick scheme that some people think it is. So I will tell you about some of the things you probably don't know if you're new to investing, and some things that it's going to be very relatable if you are already an investor. So let's go ahead and then get into it. I don't want to waste your time. I want to get straight to the point. Let's talk about what goes into the property. I have a property on the northwest side of Indianapolis. It is a duplex. It is a converted single family to duplex. So I have two streams of potential cash flow there. Now I'll break down first. The mortgage is right at $1,000. So the rent between the two units is $1,630. So from that standpoint, it cash flows $630, right? Well, not necessarily. So some of the things, I bought this house with a tenant already in. I did not do extensive rehab on it. I did do extensive rehab on one of the other units. So I get, maintenance calls like any regular property you would get. So because I know that it will need a new roof within the next 4 to 5 years, I put back about 10% of that $620, $60 a month basically, to start saving up for that new roof. Now vacancy, 10% as well. And I'm sorry, the CAPEX is about $160, not $60. There's also vacancies. I just filled a vacancy. I had an eviction and it was vacant for about a month after that. So you have to put some of that cost back between the vacancy that was costing me because that one particular unit rents out for $820. It was costing me $820 a month, so I lost about $820, which really could kill your cash flow. Maintenance costs another 10%, 5 to 10%, just depending on how much work you think is going to be done on it. This particular property, I do pay water, and that's $120. So after we break everything down on this property, I cash flow about, on any given month, about, if you don't take all the CAPEX, vacancy, property management 10%. I don't pay property management because I do my own property management right now, but that's a cost you have to consider as well. So in a real world, if you just without all them metrics, you really only of that cash flow going to get about 30-40%, unless your unit is completely turnkey. You'll get a little more. So I think it's safe to say that there's a positive cash flow of about $350 to $400 every month. So, but that can be eaten up really quick just based on like last month I had to replace a bathroom sink, the complete vanity. That cost me about $350. So that really eats up the cash flow. So the benefit still of real estate is that I bought it at 60 and I put about 25 into it so far. I refinanced it a couple years ago out at about 85. Yeah, something like 85, 89,000, something like that. So with that refinance, my payment went up about $150, but I was able to get that 25,000 that I put into it. And so I was $0 in, so that definitely is a benefit to it. But does this property cash flow? Yes. Am I going to retire off this cash flow? Absolutely not. But that's why we stack our properties. I have multiple other properties. So I try to do a per door of about $200 per door. So this one falls a little bit short of that because it's $350 between the two. I mean, it depends on if you don't want to take them things out of it, the property, the CAPEX, vacancy and stuff like that. It cash flows $600 on paper. So I have a good month and I could have a good month. But either way, you put these costs back if you don't get burnt later. So I wanted to emphasize that you need to make sure that you know all these things. And they can vary from 5 to 10%. I would always suggest, if you do buy a property and you know it's going to need a roof very soon, to maybe do like a rehab loan. Go ahead and get that fixed, because that's something you really don't want to have to deal with down the road, but it's just a necessary of real estate. So if you think I missed anything or you have any questions about how we cash flow and the metrics we have, I do have other properties that actually cash flow a little bit better, and I have some properties that barely cash flow at all, but that was a mistake I made by not putting these numbers together the correct way. So I emphasize once again to make sure that you account for these things, because when a problem does happen, things can go south really quickly. So that's why, at the very least, I know that my debt is 100% covered every single month. So there's the debt pay down. I mean, if you look at it like this, somebody else is paying the mortgage for you. Outside of a failed flip, I've never lost any money in real estate, but it can be stressful from time to time. But even with that, I know the potential of what it can offer me. So I'm keep pushing. I just purchased another property last week. You can see the video. I'll put it in the comments or the description. See the video that we just bought the property. And then on paper, that one should cash flow pretty well. Also, we're going to do a complete rehab on it. Not a real big rehab, but everything works out well. That would be about another $300 cash flow, maybe a little more. Appreciation hopefully continues to rise for, let's say this, it will continue to rise. So there's no way around it. I mean, they're already talking about a crash. Will it crash? I don't know. I can't really control that. I can protect myself against it. But with that, the future for me is endless. I'm looking to do some bigger and better things. I'm not going to necessarily talk about it on this video right now. I will be making a video about it soon, but I kind of want to get all the plans broken down and make sure it works. I mean, I know it's going to work, but how it's going to work, for I can explain it to you. So if I brought you any value in this video, just make sure you like, subscribe, and share. And thank you for watching.